I've left the auction rooms and headed east to Arundel in search of a bit of peace and quiet. But it's not the most famous landmark I've come to see.
Tucked away in the grounds of Arundel Castle is an oasis that's undergone a remarkable transformation to blossom into its present-day beauty. Up until 2 years ago, this was an ugly concrete mess. And now, just look at it.
This formal garden has literally been dug out of an old, dilapidated car park, and it took a team of more than 30, less than 2 years to complete. And it stands here as a belated honour to Thomas Howard, the 14th Earl of Arundel, also known as the Collector Earl. Lord Arundel got this name from being an enthusiastic art collector who used his wife's fortune to build up one of the greatest aristocratic collections in England, including these marble busts of Charles I and the French Prince Charles Louis.
The Collector Earl died in Italy in 1646, and although he's buried over there in the family chapel, the lavish memorial that he planned for himself was never built. So this garden was created as a tribute to him.
It's an imaginative recreation of what the Earl's London garden may have looked like, and it's designed to give the suggestion of a formal 17th century garden. I've come to meet up with head gardener Gerry Kelsey to find out more.
Gerry, there's a lot of work, a great deal of work in creating a garden like this. Where did you start?
Well, it all started from an idea me and the Duchess had actually. We were standing in the existing Victorian garden about 10 years ago, and we thought, wouldn't it be marvellous to actually create a garden in the car park space, because all we could see was number plates and it just did not go with the garden. So the idea really started from there.
Yeah. Did you have to create these levels yourself?
Yes, we did. We had JCBs come in and literally scoop out the bottom area, take it away and level it completely. And this is the result.
Well, this is all your hard work. You've planted up every single one of these plants.
Yes, it was, my big thing is subtropical plants.
Yeah,
and
I can see that.
Yeah, that was a real dream to actually do something like this.
What was the hardest part of it?
I think it's just trying to make foliage contrast with each other, and each individual plant has to contrast with another, and then colour schemes come into it.
And I suppose you don't really know what's going on until it comes to fruition, do you?
No,
it's really difficult.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's like you can put it on paper and you can imagine it in your head, but the best part is actually when you see it in real life and it's happened and it's matured, and then you can twiddle with it again. Exactly. It's great.
Looking at the garden, it's a garden of two halves, so talk me through the design.
Well, the top half really is more of a Mediterranean feel. The real down the middle is really Italian, but it also represents the source of the River Arun. And then it drops down into this subtropical area here and over to the various different architectural pieces as well. But Oberon's Temple, I think, is the major part of it. You really zoom in on that more than anything else.
Yeah. Can we go and take a closer look?
Yeah,
we can go up
let's
there,
go and have a peek.
Built from green oak, Oberon's Palace forms part of the garden's grand centrepiece. Its elaborate interior, decorated with a mosaic of cork and shells, surrounds a mini mountain of stalagmites upon which sits a gilded earl's coronet, all adding to the sense of otherworldliness. It is inspired by a fantastical creation designed by Inigo Jones for Prince Henry's New Year's Day masque in 1612.
This is just fabulous. I love the idea of the dancing crown.
Yes,
Who thought of that?
Well, the original idea was thought of by Isabel and Julian Bannerman, who designed a lot of these architectural pieces. But it is actually an old idea. I've seen fountains like this in Germany, Bayreuth, where they had a really fancy one. And the prince who owned the palace used to send all his guests in there and get them wet for a giggle. And yeah, it's just the way they did it. It was a bit of entertainment, you know. But so that's where the idea came from.
And that's gold leaf, so obviously that's quite valuable.
It is, yeah. We have to take that away every night and lock it away.
I love the mosaic work as well.
Oh, it's fantastic.
It's more like a folly in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, this whole backdrop is used for our Shakespeare plays during the festival, which are held out on this wonderful lawn in front.
Oh, you can see it now, can't you? You
Yeah.
really can.
Hot summer's night, bottle of wine.
I can see why you like this so much.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and I think it's the way it just matches with the surrounding buildings as well. The way the wood is sort of like toned down.
Well, it's weathered nicely. It's got sort of greyed off, so it looks like natural stone.
It does, yeah, it does indeed, and it was a horrible yellow when it first went up. It really stood out.
Look at the symmetry you get up here.
Oh, definitely, yeah. You can see everything from up here, and you can see how the garden's put together.
And is this section more tropical, I've noticed?
Yes, again, we're using subtropical plants up here. A bit more challenging here because the wind tends to cut across them, especially in the winter. But most things have survived quite happily. It's been really great, so no problems.
Gerry, thank you so much for talking to me today. I think you and your team here have done a tremendous job turning a car park into something so beautiful and eye-catching. It's unbelievable.
And if you want to know how this crown sits aloft, just watch A Touch of Magic. Even though this space is only 2 years old, it still manages to evoke the atmosphere and style of a formal 17th century European garden, while at the same time allowing Gerry to indulge his passion for subtropical plants.
It's so beautiful here. It's certainly a delightful and tranquil garden with touches of whimsy and nods to the Earl's own life, a fitting memorial to a man who had an eye for beauty.